No, but what about the kids though?
What about them?
Because this is what I mean about men, right? You guys think that just having kids and giving money is enough. But what about the time? No.
He's there for every one of them.
How? There's no way that you can
Are you serious, Nick? He's there for every single one of those kids.
There's no way that you could have 12
kids. I got 9. And I'm there for every one of mine.
So every single time you're at every single recital?
No, that's a white man's thing. Who gives a fuck about a recital?
Okay, but what about
my job ain't to be doing all that extra stuff, that all these holidays and recitals and all that.
Just when I see something like this, I start to question how much men, not just women, not just the court system, how much people actually respect the role that men play in their kids' lives. Let's start off with the motivation for this video. Mr. Robert Dinero has fathered a child at 79 years old.
I want to fuck. And I want to fuck.
I think men all around the world were celebrating, not just because it's Robert Dinero, but because this is living proof that for a guy, no matter how old you are, it is never too late to have kids. This is the Raging Bull's 7th kid from 4 different women, which is not too far off from Elon Musk, who has 10 kids from, I think, 3 different moms. And of course, Nick Cannon, who has 12 kids with 6 different moms. I believe that 9 of them were born within a 2-year time span. Having this many kids isn't that big of a deal from a resources perspective for someone that's rich, because those kids will always have food, clothing, and shelter. Now, if you remove the money from consideration, there's still the issue of time, quality time, that despite what Akon is saying here, according to the research, that gives us evidence to say that a man's time that he spends with his kids is more important than what Akon is letting on here. And this brings me to my next point, which is with Dinero being 79 years old, I mean, let's be real, okay? By the time this kid is 12 years old, I don't know how engaged or active Mr. Dinero is going to be at 91 years old. My concern immediately goes to the possibility that once this kid starts to understand the world and what's going on around him and what death actually means, is that every day has the potential for your dad to die from old age. And just from an anxiety perspective, that sounds horrific. Even if Dinero is able to make it through the childhood years, there's still those parts of adulthood and with mentorship that parents can and do play a huge part in. And there's just no way he's gonna be there for that.
Just imagine, right? Let's say a lion, for instance, because they have the most beautiful culture that's really relating to man.
I think what he means here is that lions live lives that are closer to what he wants humans to be related to. Back to the interview.
Okay, you got the female lion, and then you got the male lion. Who's the dominant lion in the family? The female lion. The man does what? He finds a territory, he protects it. So that way the female lion can do her duty, and the cubs can grow to be old enough to go off and do the same thing they did. Now, when it's time to hunt, the female goes out and hunts, brings the food back, everybody eats. The man just makes sure that this territory is protected and no other lion can come in and penetrate. Now, within the female lion, there might be 5 or 6 other ones, but they're all looking for the protection of the male lion. The male lion will go off and he'll come back.
Just look at the amount of women who date married men, but at the same time say they're against plural marriage.
Whenever a dude quotes the animal kingdom when he's talking about sex, that dude's fucking.
Pretty much. Okay, so let's go back to that earlier comment.
Yes, it is. I got 9, and I'm there for every one of mine.
So every single time you're at every single recital?
No, that's a white man's thing. Who gives a fuck about a recital?
I think that it is complete bullshit to think that it is a white man thing to spend time with your kids and go to birthday parties and recitals. I just think that's complete bullshit. A few years ago, there was a research article that came out from Pew Research discussing how involved African-American dads are in their kids' lives. Now, sometimes a lot of articles, even some research, is just trying to get headlines and just pandering to a specific crowd. But I think the stats on this seem to be pretty legit. Among whites and Hispanics, black men are more likely to be around for feeding, for bathing, playing with their kids, and reading to their kids. And that applies even if the dad is living in that house primarily or not. Now, obviously, there are more factors involved with these statistics than just race, but my overall point is spending time with your kids is more than just a white people thing. Now, I don't know about you, but I really got the vibe when I heard him say that reminded me of being in school and when there's a kid who has the audacity to speak proper English and someone comes out of nowhere and tells them that they're trying to act white. As if speaking proper English and being white are synonymous with one another. It's not, and neither is spending time with your kids.
A guy ain't got time to be in the house all day with no kids.
No, but no one's saying that, to be in the house all day with the kids. I'm saying that if you have 12 children, you cannot divide your attention equally amongst those children. One of your, a couple of your children are gonna feel like you are not there for them. I don't care.
But that's still Western. Listen, let's prime example. Going back to nature again.
Whenever a dude quotes the animal kingdom when he's talking about sex, that dude's fucking.
Before there was civilization and we were just cavemen, before the responsibilities and the holidays and the piano recitals and the ballet recitals, before any of that existed, a man would do what's naturally comfortable to keep the earth preserved. And that's to populate the earth. And he may go from one side of the equator all the way to the other side of the equator. There was no child support. There wasn't no man's responsibility towards his children. It was just about life being created.
That dude's fucking.
Let's take a look at the other statistics. Having two biological parents involved in your kids' lives increases the chances of graduating from college and decreases the chances of incarceration. The same rules apply with men and women or with little boys and little girls. Okay, so this is where I think things get interesting, okay? If you take into account race, what you see here is the same positive effect. The effect just isn't as pronounced as it is with white people, which is to say that when African American parents are involved with their children, both African American parents are involved with their children, it does increase pro-social development. Pro-social development is also increased with white people, but it is just to a higher degree. Now, while these stats do not directly measure the cause of this impact, it is reasonable to say that having a dad around and involved does make a difference in their child's lives.
And show love, yes, I will do that. But my responsibility is to make sure that they grow up responsible, strong, and become a real, input to society.
Yeah, but you're not then, if you're not around them enough to give them
That's
emotion.
false. That's not true. Because communication allows me to be there every day. That's
Yes.
what a FaceTime phone is for.
No, but that's not the same as
It
if
is
you
the
had.
same.
This man bringing up lions and prehistoric male and female customs, and then requiring an iPhone to keep up communication with his kids is just hilarious to me.
The reason why people like me can't spend every single day and minute with their children is because the mother's job is to be there with the children. I'm the man. My job is to provide comfort so the mother can provide and raise those children to be like me.
And in my opinion, it's this kind of rhetoric and belief system that is one reason, not all the reasons, but one reason why it can be pure hell for men in the family court system.
Now, if it's a man, when a child gets to a certain age, as a man, that's my responsibility now to show him what a man's role and responsibility is. But you can't expect a man to conquer the world if he's home with children.
Did you know that men get custody of their kids somewhere between 15 to 20% of the time? And even if they do get custody, only 30% of the men are awarded support from their partner. And why shouldn't they? Why should they get custody? Why should they get support? If you listen to someone like Akon, I mean, according to him and people of his ilk, he doesn't actually need to be there. You just cut a check and show up 15 years later. I got no personal beef with Nick Cannon, Robert Dinero, or Akon. These guys might have the financial means to make this work, but make no mistake about it, there are definitely behavioral, psychological, and emotional benefits to dads being around. And I don't want anyone to forget that. And I want as many people as possible to know about that. I mean, the statistics show it. Anecdotally, I've seen it. Obviously, if you have to work, then of course you have to work. But if you have the opportunity to keep your family under one household and with as few spouses as possible, it just puts your offspring in the best position possible to flourish. And that seems to be the case across economic and racial lines. I don't know what the hell Akon is talking about here, but gentlemen, I just want you to know that you are not just a wallet, and the benefits of being around don't just start at the age of 13. And with that, I got nothing else. Thank you for tuning into this video. Hope you all enjoy the rest of your day. Take care.